Okay, we are going to start creating some charts, and our first chart is going to be a bar chart. To access the file, you should go to your HS Media drive, which is your W drive. Go to the teacher folder up here, and then go to the computer apps folder, and in there open up the charts folder. The file we're looking for is called education, and you'll probably see a couple other files in here, but find the one that says education and open that up. And then of course, as soon as you open it up, save it to a save as, and make sure you're saving it to your HS Media folder or your My Documents, wherever the teacher has told you just to save your files. Okay? And I've zoomed in a little bit, so it's a little bit easier for you to see. Here we have a chart or a spreadsheet talking about high school graduations, or level of education, and how much people will earn with that degree in education. And the hope here is for you to realize that the more education you get, whether that's college or trade school or whatever, the more education you get, the higher your income will be throughout your lifetime. So education does pay in the long run. Okay. Here we are, we have the education level here, and this is how much men and women will get paid throughout the, with that educational level. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do men seem to get paid more than women? That's a big question, and there's a lot of answers or possible answers that contribute to that. I'm not going to go into that now, but if you'd like to talk about it, come back and see me, and I'll be happy to kind of share some with you. But we're going to go ahead and we want to highlight the range of A3, up here A3, down here to C8. And this is the chart that we're going, or this is the data that we're going to create the chart in. Notice that we have the labels at the top and the labels on the side that relate to the different numbers. And that's important that when you're highlighting your text, you include your labels. All right, let's go up to our ribbons, and we want to click on the Insert ribbon up here and come to the middle section of where all the charts are listed, and we want to look at a column chart. So click the drop-down arrow for the column chart. Here are all the different types of column charts we can choose from. And if you look at the first column here, if you go straight down, notice these are all called cluster column charts. The second one, row or column, is all called stacked. And then most of the third row is a 3D version. We want to go to the 2D options here at the top and choose the very first one that should say cluster column under the 2D. Go ahead and select that. And automatically, because we have highlighted it, highlighted the data, our chart is created in a very quick manner. When a chart is put into the spreadsheet itself, we call that an embedded chart. So it's embedded or put into the spreadsheet. Another option, which we'll be looking at later, is where you can put this chart on a separate sheet, its own sheet of paper. Notice that in the corner there are, and on the middle there's little dots. Those little dots there are handles that you can click and drag and resize your chart when you would like to. I'm going to zoom out here because I need a little more space. And I want to click not on the handle but on the edge, not in the middle, but kind of on the edge of the chart border. So the upper left-hand corner of the chart is in cell, try that again, is in cell E1, right here. So here is cell E1, and the upper left-hand corner is there. And then come down here to the lower right-hand corner and drag the left-hand corner so it's in cell 13 or K13. Notice that's in cell. Let me drag this out of the way for you to see. It's in cell. Here's K, and here's 13, and you can see that the corner is right there. So the range of the chart is cell E1 through K13. That is the range of the chart. Now I want to point out here, notice with the chart selected, I have these charting tools listed up here: design, layout, and format. If I click over here in the Excel spreadsheet, just anywhere in the spreadsheet off the chart, notice that those ribbons have gone away. But as soon as I come up and select the chart again, those ribbons reappear. So make sure you understand what you're clicking on if you can't find the right ribbon. What we're going to do now is move this chart, which is embedded, over to its own sheet. Make it its own sheet. So make sure your chart is selected. Then come up under the chart tools, click on the design tab. Click on the design tab. We'll talk about all these other functions here in a little while. But I want to point out over here on the right hand side, the far right hand side, there's a big button that says Move Chart. Click on the Move Chart, and the Move Chart dialog box comes up. We want to move it to its new sheet, and we're going to name the sheet Column. So click on where it says New Sheet and type in the word Column, C-O-L-U-M-N, and then go ahead and say OK. And when you do, you'll notice down here at the bottom we have Sheet 1, where we have our information, and then we also have a new column sheet that displays our chart. This is very useful, having it in its own sheet when you want to create a chart and only show the chart. If you wanted to print out the numbers and a chart, then you would probably want to keep it embedded. But if all you want to do is print out a chart, this makes the chart a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see. You can put more details in it. It's a little easier to work with. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure we save our changes and to your chart there. And you can see whether you're a man or a woman here, the higher the degree you have in education, the more income that you'll receive. And that's a very graphical, easy way to show that education pays. The more you get, the better off you are. And you could bicker over the exact amounts and argue over why women don't get paid as much as men. But the point is, an educated woman gets paid more than a non-educated man. So education, no matter what happens, you get a higher income the more you have. Okay, what I want to point out next is that this chart is still connected to our data back here. So if we make a change on our data sheet, it is automatically updated in the chart. And I'm going to zoom in here, and you should be able to see this on your screen. But the first category here says no high school diploma. And, oh, wait a minute. Actually, it says, I want to look up the second one. The second column is high school graduate. It says high school to graduate. So what we want to change that word graduate to a high school diploma to match the first section. So if we come back to that first sheet and come to cell A5, and in cell A5, it says high school graduate, double click in there and delete the word graduate and type in diploma. D-I-P-L-O-M-A, and then hit enter to accept the changes. So as soon as we type in the word diploma here and we come back now to the column chart, notice how, if you notice real quickly, it changed over. Now it says high school diploma. So these two, the sheet and the column chart, are connected or linked in their activities. Now when you look at a chart, I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to zoom back. When you look at a chart, it can look kind of overwhelming at first, but you just have to realize that the chart is just made up of different parts, and each part is called an element. So you have one element is the bars itself. Another element is the x-axis and y-axis, and then you have the amounts, and then you have the background or the plot area. And if you hold your mouse, if you move your mouse around to the different areas of the chart and just hold it there without clicking, a little screen tip pops up and tells you the name of that area. So you can see as I'm moving around, little things are popping up. Go ahead, and if you have to pause the video and just kind of move it around and kind of see what the different areas or elements of the chart are called. Now, why that's important is because we can change or modify or format these different elements by clicking on them and formatting them individually. If you have pulled up the written instructions, you can come down here and scroll down or come down to page 189, and you have a little picture here of the names of all the different elements in a chart. Now, not all charts have every element. You know, a pie chart does not have an x-axis or a y-axis, but it has many of the other components. And if you go to the next page, there's a little table here describing the different elements, the name of the elements, and kind of what they do. So you can kind of, again, pause the video if you want, just kind of glance at that so you're familiar with the vocabulary or the terms for the different areas. Now, in addition to formatting the individual elements, we can format a chart based on a certain style. And when I say style, that's kind of a combination of built-in colors, fonts, and other effects. So if you come up to your tool charts, and under the Design tab, you should see this whole row of different colors charts. These are different styles. If you come over kind of the right-hand side and click below the down arrow and click on the More button, a whole bunch of different styles kind of pop up that you can choose from depending on what you're looking for in a chart and how you're going to use the chart. So you can, say if you like green, you can pick on a green style. Come back here to More, and you can maybe use one with a black background if that's the effect you're looking for. But here's the point. Go ahead and, again, pause the video if you want, just look at a couple of styles. But most of the time, if you print a chart out, it's going to be on a black and white printer. So you probably want to use these styles over here in the first column, because these are the kind of the black and white style. So what I want you for this assignment, after you get done playing around, choose style 9, which is the first one in row 2. Style 9, and again, that applies a black and white style format to our chart. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is a chart title. So with the chart selected, come out to the Layout tab. And under the Layout tab, we have this whole section of the different types of labels. Here we want the chart title, and we're going to do a chart centered overlay title. Okay, so when you click on that, a placeholder comes in for our chart title. Go ahead and select that, click in there, and we want our title to be Education Pays. Education Pays. Education Pays. Go ahead and deselect or click outside in order for that to be accepted. Now the next thing we want to do is create some titles for our labels for our X and Y axis. So we can modify the chart by coming back to the Design tab. Come back to the Design tab. And then over here, kind of on the left side center, you have a section called Chart Layouts. And if you click the More button, here's are again different types of layouts you can choose. We're going to again choose layout number 9. Choose layout number 9, and when you do, notice that our chart shrinks just a little bit, and now we have little placeholders for the axis titles. So come on over here to the left side, which is the vertical axis. Click in there, and we want to highlight that placeholder text and type in medium income, because on the x-axis there that is what is being, the vertical axis, that's what's being shown, the median income level. Okay? Then, and if you hit enter or just click outside, then it's selected. Then we want to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit to make it a little easier for you to see. Going to zoom into the bottom, click in there, and highlight the placeholding text and type in education level, because across the bottom, that's what it's showing us, the education level. Okay? And then click outside of the placeholder when you're finished. So our chart's starting to come together here. Now, if we are going to leave this on screen or print it out in color, then we do want to add a little color. So let's come back to the Chart Tools Design tab. Come back to the Design tab, and we're going to change our style to add a little color. And this time we want to use style number 26. So hold your mouse around until you find style number 26 and go ahead and select it. It should be in the second style in the fourth row, although it could be different for you, but that's where mine is located. Okay. Now on the ribbon, let's go to the Layout tab, and let's see what we can do here. And here it shows us where we can change what our chart looks like. We're going to actually come over here and move this legend. Now legend is kind of tells you what the different colors mean. And in this case, the legend is telling us that the blue lines are men and the red lines are women. Well, we want to move that, instead of on the side, we want to move that to the top. So come up here, right in the middle under the labels, click on the legend button and choose show legend at top. And when you choose show legend at top, notice how now it's moved it to the top of the chart, giving us a little more room to kind of stretch out our information. Okay, so our chart is looking pretty good. I'm going to zoom out here to kind of see the big picture of it. The only thing we want to add right now is possibly a header on a chart, so we kind of know what's going on. So let's come to add a header to a chart or any Excel spreadsheet. It's under the Insert tab. So click on Insert, and then click on the Header and Footer button. Insert, Header and Footer. And we will do a customized header. So here's the dialog box, and click on Customized Header. And on the left section, type in your name. And tab over to the right section, and we're going to put the date over here on the right with your insertion point blinking here on the right box. Up here at the top, if you hold your mouse over the different buttons, the one of them in the middle will say Insert Date. So if you click on that, the little button, it doesn't actually show the date because it depends on what date it is being printed out or displayed, but you have a little ampersand date formula that goes in there. Go ahead and say OK and OK again, and it'll take a second here to accept the changes. And when you're done with that, save your changes, and you're finished with this particular spreadsheet. You might want to do a little quick print preview by clicking on the Office button, coming down to Print, and choose Print Preview, and that way you can double check that your header has been accepted up here at the top. Okay, and notice it's in black and white because it's assuming that you're going to be printing this out on black and white. Hit the Close Print Preview. Make sure you've saved your changes. And then you can close this spreadsheet down.